Yeah, I mean, after, 8 takes getting thrown into a wall, it's like, okay, do we get that one? And
my time is 1.
Yep.
You could get discovered. It's never too late.
I've been preparing since a young child. Like, I would put on Little Women. I would watch that to make myself cry. And then I would, in front of my mirror in my room, I'd put on my own little plays for myself.
She's accepting her Emmy or something.
Yeah.
Crying.
I had quit law school. My dad had gotten really sick, so I had moved back home to help take care of him and my family. And it was my dad's idea. He's like, they're filming a lot of movies down here, right? Why don't you just be in one? Like, yeah, Dad, it's that easy. Just be in a movie, sure.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to Good Job New Mexico. I'm your host, Stacy Johnston.
And I'm Leonardo Castaneda.
We are talking to Mykel Salazar. She's a New Mexico filmmaker and amazing scope of work. What did you think?
I thought it was great. It is so interesting. I feel like the film industry is one of the things that makes New Mexico so special. And yet I don't know how films work. I don't know what it takes. I think it was so interesting and illuminating to see that, if you're interested in films, but you don't want to act, you don't want to write them, or you can write them, or you can act, or you can direct, or you can be an accountant, or you can be an electrician or a carpenter. So many of the trades that we talk about at DWS, you can do in a film set with Lou Diamond Phillips, whichever way you say his name. I always forget.
I have no idea. I can't help you there. But that's what I liked about it too. It's you could be doing something totally different, but your skills can transfer over.
Exactly.
And you can do it too.
Yeah, it's great. It's such an interesting industry. I loved how Mykel talked about how she entered her pathway and transitioned into film. And I mean, I think it's something that I think we can all relate to of I want to work in this. I want to do this type of thing. How do I start? And sometimes it's just, you just email someone, you just cold email and hope for the best.
Yeah, these are one of my favorite inspirational stories because she was going down a completely different path of career.
Right.
And then midway, huge pivot and went somewhere totally different. And anybody can do that. If you're feeling a little stuck maybe, or you just want to try something else, you can. You just got to go for it.
Yeah, you go for it. You reach out to people and you make it work.
Yeah, and then you never know. It might be your new passion that you didn't even know existed.
Right. And if it's film, even better. Because then I get to watch it and I get to be entertained.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of Mykel's films and they're awesome. And so it's really cool to see everything that goes into that and how you actually get to a point where you're putting out films that people can watch and enjoy and talk about.
Right. Or even if you're just starting out at the bottom or just helping out as an assistant, your career can change totally within that industry and you can be a producer and you can be a director. You just never know where your path is going to take you and the people you're going to come across. So that's what I love.
Just try it.
Just try it. Are you going to try it?
Absolutely. I want to be a grip.
Oh, okay.
I still don't know what they do.
I don't know either. But again, the shoulder strength.
But I think the shoulder strength would be good for me. I think I could use a workout.
I'm going to hard pass on that one. But I think I'd be a phenomenal assistant. What do you need?
Yeah.
You need coffee?
Yes. Assistant director. I feel like you're great.
Call?
You could keep people on track.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd give it a good try.
That's all we can all hope
That's
for.
all we can all hope for right now.
I imagine if you're a director, you can hope for a little bit more. You're probably I would actually like you to succeed.
Yeah, you're only giving 40% here, Stacy. We need a full 110, which I would give.
Absolutely.
If anyone's listening.
Yeah, Lou Diamond Phillips.
Yeah.
Get at us.
I am prepared and ready. 110. But anyway, without further ado, please enjoy Mykel Salazar. And we'll also be joined by our other co-host, Raquel Gomez. Thank you so much for being here. Can you give us some background and where you grew up?
Yeah, my name is Mykel Salazar. I am homegrown here in the Land of Enchantment. I went to school at Los Lunas High School. I am a Laguna Indigenous female filmmaker. And thank you for having me.
For sure. So what drew you to filmmaking? Was it from a young age?
Oh, no, I wish. I didn't get into filmmaking until about 10 years ago. I happened to move home for some family reasons. I was actually in law school. And when I moved home, it was one of those moments of, what am I going to do for a job? I had quit law school. My dad had gotten really sick, so I had moved back home to help take care of him and my family. And yeah, quit law school. And it was just like, now what? I have all of these degrees. Now what am I going to do? And it was my dad's idea. He's like, they're filming a lot of movies down here, right? Why don't you just be in one? Like, yeah, Dad, it's that easy. Just be in a movie. Sure. But yeah, it was his idea that got me kind of in that path of thinking about filmmaking. And I'm like, oh, there's a whole world of so many things to do. I mean, everything from admin of accounting things to building props to set construction to electricity. So, I mean, we have journeymen, just all types of crafts and skills in the industry that I've never would have thought. I mean, it's a whole, just a environment of its own. And, I thought, well, maybe I'll try this, and kind of tried and dabbled in a little bit of everything until I found my way into the creative part of it. But I never thought that would happen, and I can't imagine doing anything else.
That's amazing. So it just kind of fell into place, it sounds like. How did you start looking? Did you just go to which website did you go to? How did you dive in? What's square one?
Google.
Yeah.
How to be in a movie in New Mexico. I think it was something like that, 'cause I had no idea. And found some local casting websites. And I was like, okay, clicked on this. And Lori Latham, she's actually a casting director here in Albuquerque, or Santa Fe, Albuquerque. I just made a profile on her website, and she was actually happened to be casting for some TV shows that were going on for Netflix. And the next day she called me to come in for a fitting, and
oh, wow.
No agent, no any of that. And yeah, I go in for a fitting, and everything snowballed from there. It was my first time being on set, first time being in a fitting, first time seeing what costume racks, all these different things. Wow. So it really opened my eyes, and I just went along for the ride. I did some background gigs here and there, but then I moved into the stunt world because about 10 years ago, I was in a little bit more of a peak shape for sure. And, was familiar with riding horses and kayaking, rock climbing. And that's kind of where they put me, doing stunt things that I would do anyway in off time. So I started doing that. And yeah, I mean, the paychecks were great, but you can only get thrown into a wall so many times before it really starts affecting your body. And
my time is one.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, after, 8 takes getting thrown into a wall, it's like, okay, do we get that one? But, as the time went on, it was like, okay, I just can't do this to my body anymore. So then I started looking to other avenues. Now, what else can I go into? And then I started ADing. Assistant directors are the ones that I compare them to drill sergeants of getting the whole crew, troops in order. Planning everything, the execution of the script. You're the one that plans everything and thinks of so much. But yeah, I learned that part of it. And I did that for about 6 solid years. I got into the Directors Guild of America that way. Yeah, then it was, I'm ready for something else now, more creative. I was starting to get the creative bug when I was ADing. And when you're an AD, you don't really get to have input like that because you're just the planner. So then I was like, okay, I think I'm ready now to start directing.
Did you know this was built into you to do this kind of work? I mean, as a child, were you constantly coming up with plays or? I would role play by myself in my room. Did everybody else do that?
Hindsight, right?
Yeah.
I grew up essentially by myself. I have 2 older sisters that are, about 15 years older than I am. So the only kid in the house. So yeah, it was a lot of imaginary things. It was a lot of me building, my own sets, if you will, worlds outside of, because I had lots of little toy cars I would play with and just build underground tunnels and, just have fun. But I never knew I could do that. I didn't have, that guidance in a way. But I did, I saw Batman Returns in the theater. My sister took me to that movie, and I remember that was the movie that opened my eyes to different worlds. And I didn't connect those dots until, years,
Was that the movie with the penguin?
Yep. Yep. Michelle Pfeiffer,
You
Catwoman.
saw Danny DeVito down with the penguins, and you're like, if you can turn Danny DeVito into the penguin, imagine the things I could do.
Yeah.
Or you saw Michelle Pfeiffer and you're like, how do I get in on this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that bullwhip, Yeah.
Did you have a favorite stunt that you did while you were doing more stunt work?
Oh gosh.
So I'm always fascinated by the jerk cable where they pull someone through a wall or a window or
those are
fun.
those are fun actually. They look a lot rougher than they actually are. But my favorite was I had to be dragged behind a horse. But I know that sounds, really intense. But, I have a back plate on. The stunt coordinator and, all the guys, they would, dug a trench and would put mats and then they put the sand on top. So the horse, is running on the side of it and I'm on the back plate on top. So it looks a lot worse than what it is. So that's one of my favorite ones because it does look just really vicious. One where I had to be hung. So the same thing, a back plate and a horse, takes off and you go, you're lifted up in the air. So those are all really fun. It's just, they just look and sound a lot worse than they actually were. I'm here alive and no injuries on those ones.
Good.
So, yeah.
And what about costumes? So, I'm sure you've been in movies where there's some like intricate makeup and you sit there for a long time, or some really great costumes from, previous times or the future. What's the most memorable time that you sat to do makeup or a costume that maybe you wanted to take home and you're like, this is the best Halloween costume ever?
Yeah. I haven't had a moment to want to take costume homes yet, but how I got into stunts was the stunt performer didn't show up that day. So the costume designer was like, that girl can fit it, this girl can fit it. And then I was the one, like the stunt coordinator would kind of test us to make sure that we were up for the job. And I was the one that could do the things that was required. And I happened to fit the costume that day. And so that's kind of like one of those little lucky situations. And so that was interesting. It was a corset, it was a Western. So, it was a corset and just... I don't think I've ever worn something so tight in my life.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of tattoos and I was doubling this actress. I had to double and she had no tattoos. So I had to sit in a chair spread.
They had to cover up all your tattoos.
They had to cover up all of my tattoos. And that was really weird. And then to see the kind of the after of just my body, tattoo list.
That's what I would look like.
Yeah, that's what I would
clean
look like.
slate.
Yeah. One of the other times getting my tattoo cover up next to Lou Diamond Phillips. And so that was the one where I was like, oh, this is the life now, I was like, I don't ever get really starstruck, but that was my first time being like, Lou Diamond Phillips right next to him and he's getting his makeup stuff. Those were probably the two moments that really stick out to me in those ones. Yeah. And others, I had to get like blood and things like that. But I think those were my favorite ones.
So what was it like starting to transition from that AD role where you're just kind of executing someone's vision and the goal is really to like make sure everything sticks to schedule, to like now you're thinking big picture and you're thinking more about the vision and the story and the narrative?
Whenever I work with directors, I would ask them certain questions. And I remember asking those questions to myself of, just like the little logistical things and, storyline, just those questions. And I was answering them and I was like, whoa, okay, I am ready. So when you're ADing, you interact with so many producers. And I hit up a friend of mine who was a producer and I'm like, Alexandra Renzo, she lives in Santa Fe. And I just remember calling her up. I'm like, Renzo, hey, like, do you have any scripts that you're looking for a director for? Because I'm ready now. And she was like, actually, yes, I have, a couple scripts. You want to take a peek? There was one that resonated with me. So that's kind of where it started was, I just made a call, shot my shot. And and then everything took off from there. I had that itch and kept looking for another one. And so it got addictive in a way. Yeah, it was like, you make relationships and people, when they, meet you in one aspect, everyone I know I've met has been in a crew level. And then, you just call someone and they'll be like, oh, yeah, actually, like we have a script, or yes, we'll work with you on this project.
Yeah, because there's so many people. That's what's great. We were looking at some films and like the list of people that it takes to make a movie is shocking. Like the amount of staff and crew that it takes. So you have to have so many relationships, right?
Yeah.
Well, even when you finish a movie and you're scrolling the credits, that's like 10, 15 minutes long. That's how many people it took to make the movie.
Mm-hmm. Everyone from, pre-production, production, and post-production. Those are different, industries, different jobs in those ones. I've worked with anywhere from as few as 12 people to as much as, 400 people. So it's, just different careers in these things, which is just also just an amazing thing that, I never would have ever thought, Right. I'm sure all of you in this room could find a place in the film industry. Yeah.
Right, because there's a whole world that goes into every little piece of it?
There's a bunch of different unions. There's IATSE, and it varies by state, by region. But I'm in the Directors Guild of America as an AD and a director. As an AD, anyway, it's so hard. It's one of the hardest unions, I think, to get into because it's all by the, acquiring days and not hours. As an AD, I can't even remember now. To be a second AD, you have to build 600 days on productions just to be able to submit to get into the guild. As a first AD, I think it's 400 or something like that. I can't remember. And then as a director, you just need to have an AD team and you essentially almost, kind of get grandfathered in. So there's not really any strict requirements as a director, but as an AD, you have to do years of work. And you have to be able to then prove those things by, call sheets, pay stubs, and a bunch of other different things. Yeah, I first got in as an AD. I worked 5 solid years. 7 days a week sometimes, and got in that way. So, every time I always come across, especially younger people saying that they want to be an AD, and I'm like, okay, are you sure about that? Because it really takes a certain type of crazy to be an AD, I think. And also the life expectancy of that position, I believe, is 54 or 56 years old. It's a really high stress job. There was just an AD, I believe, on, I can't remember, a major, like a big Netflix show. I think Emily in Paris,
Right.
just this past, I think, summer, collapsed and died.
Whoa.
I saw that, yeah.
And he was young.
Like while on set,
While
while they
on
were
set.
filming.
Mhm.
Oh my God.
Well, I was going to ask because it sounds like your day is so jam-packed. Like you
Mhm.
probably are one of the first ones on set and one of the last ones to leave.
Yeah.
So really,
Mhm.
your days can be extremely long. What would the day-to-day be like for an AD?
You're there before everyone gets there. Oh, I like to be anyway, because I like to, kind of go over the day that you already planned already in pre-production, but I like to be there in the moment to go over things. I like to be there early with my director to do those things. But it's a lot of, safety meetings are, paramount. I never start the day without a safety meeting. And that's when you go over the logistics of the day. Any, of course, safety points or any stunts or things like that are be required throughout the day. Even just emergency exits down to telling people where the bathrooms are. So it's literally just a breakdown of the entire day. And then it's kind of, wrangling the troops, kind of, herding cats in a way of making sure that all the departments are doing everything that they're supposed to do. It's a lot.
Yeah,
You
high
have
stress.
to worry about every personality on set, also all of the union rules of every department, because every department is usually a different union. You have your Screen Actors Guild, you have your camera union, you're just... And knowing the hours, if there's kids on set, how many hours until they pumpkin that you have to send them home.
Until they pumpkin.
That's so cute.
Yeah. So, if anything ever does go wrong on set, you're the one
You have to fix it.
you have to fix it. And you're the one that everyone is pointing their finger at, Yeah.
Stressful.
Very stressful. Yeah. Yeah. And I had a borderline heart attack at 30. And I was ADing. And that was like the moment I was like, oh, this is, and kind of when I, heard the life expectancy was 56, I'm like, oh, well, what? No, that's silly, And then it happened to me and I'm like, oh, shit. Like, this is
I'm
real.
on the low end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine these, these people that have been doing it for, 20, 30 plus years. But after that happened to me, I definitely took a different perspective and started taking not things less seriously, but just knowing like, okay, this, we're not saving lives. We're not firefighters. We're making movies for a living. So let's go in with that attitude of let's have fun, but also, of course, be safe. But I had to definitely change my perspective on it a little bit. And once I did that, then things changed for the better.
Is there a thing where you can't act until you have your SAG card or something? I don't know. Brad Pitt was doing, I don't know if you guys listened to his podcast. He was doing an interview with Dax Shepard, and he was saying something to the effect, like on his first set, all he was supposed to do was like be a waiter and like pour coffee or something. But then he just snuck some words in there. He's like, now's my time to like shoot my shot. And he was like, do you need anything else? And they stopped production. They're like, you do that again, we're going to fire you. Because he didn't actually have a line on that movie, but he was just trying to get a line in. For someone trying to get started, do you need a speaking role to get your SAG card, or how does that work?
Yeah, so SAG is a Screen Actors Guild, and they're the ones that represent all of, the actors that, the Jason Momoas, the, Chris Hemsworth, down to all of our local, actors, even some of the background actors as well, especially in California. Yeah, usually you have to say, I think, definitely at least a line. A lot of productions now are non-union. But there's things called Taft-Hartleys where some productions, especially big ones, this is where I got lucky. They allot a certain amount of non-union actors that can get bumped up to a speaking role. A lot of indies or smaller productions don't have that. I mean, because they account for every penny of every budget. But the big ones, they have anywhere from 5 to 20 people they can like pull off the street or, just give a line to their background actor to say. And then, they get a pay raise and a chance to be in the SAG.
You could get discovered. It's never too late.
I've been preparing since a young child. Like I would put on Little Women, the part where Beth, well, if you haven't watched it, sorry, spoiler, the part where Beth dies. I would watch that to make myself cry. And then I would in front of my mirror in my room, I'd put on my own little plays for myself. My parents were probably like, don't open the door. Who knows what's going on?
She's like accepting her Emmy or something, crying.
So can you tell us a little bit about some of the films that you worked in? I know that one that has done the festival circuit, Lovely, Dark, and Deep. Can you tell us a little bit about that and kind of the process of getting that made?
That was actually the script that my friend Alexander Renzo gave me. And that one took, at least 3 years to get off the ground. So there was just a lot of things that were just needed. But in between that time, I made, 4 other things in that process. But just that script was written for, Redwoods. And I am such a New Mexico. I will throw down for New Mexico. New Mexico can fit anywhere. We don't have an ocean and a beach. And that's probably the only thing that New Mexico really can't fit for. I'm like, okay, well, I can make this here. I don't need to go to California or the Pacific Northwest. But then I ended up going to the Pacific Northwest. We just needed the trees that, unfortunately, we just don't have here. So that was a moment where I had to swallow that pill of mine. Just takes a lot. So from that one, we started everything with such minimal crew because we had a minimal budget. And when we shot that, it was during the writer's strike and the SAG strike. And when that happened, a lot of the film workers were not working. It was okay, we were all in a really just a depressive state too, because this is our art. This is our livelihood. And we weren't able to express those things. So I, got a group of friends of mine who happened to be just some of the best in the industry. And I'm like, okay, no one's working right now. You guys want to make something. I scrounged up from my savings and took my crew to the Pacific Northwest. We shot about 4 or 5 days out there because I used that also as a little vacation summer camp for us as well because, I love this group and it's we needed this. So we would shoot half a day, which is 6 hours, sometimes 8 or 10 hours a day, or, then we'd, kind of spend the rest of the time exploring around, going, the Puget Sound or just being on a ferry. A lot of them was their first time on a ferry as well. So just being able to be with them during those things. Yeah, so we filmed that. It was written for New Mexico. During casting, I cast Morningstar Angeline, who's been on a lot of things here. Yeah, up and coming right now, and Alexander Renzo, who was a producer on it, and she was my lead. So a lot of things happened behind the scenes where I had to do a lot of adjusting, and I ended up filming then a couple days back in New Mexico with everyone. Yeah, that was probably my first time doing a location shoot as a director, as a creative, and then, coming home to finish it up with everyone else. But yeah, that process was a lot longer than all of my other films have been. So that one, actually, we just finished through the festival circuit on that one. It's a psychological thriller about this woman who returns home under unwelcome circumstances when her only relative dies. So as her relative starts dying, she starts to unravel. So it gets a little weird, little surreal. We really play with colors. A lot of my crew do a lot of work with Meow Wolf. And so if you can imagine, we definitely took, a little, we all got real Meow Wolfy with it is what we were calling it.
As soon as you said in multiple colors, that's exactly the image that came into my brain.
Yeah. So we just finished the festival run on that. Over 10 festivals. We got into 3 Oscar qualifying festivals, Guadalajara, Rhode Island, and Santa Fe, who was last year was their first run. The next one's already just finished one 2 days ago. So now, we're just now in editing now, finishing up on another film, and just, it's always going. It's always evolving. I mean, it's always one after another.
What is it like, because you have such connections to New Mexico, but you have all these productions coming in from outside? Is it sometimes a challenge to like get people to understand, especially when you have like crews that are made up of like local talent, local crews, but they're bringing in people from outside that maybe don't have a connection to New Mexico? Is that a challenge sometimes when you're kind of mixing in people, and like New Mexicans are very proud of New Mexico and how we do things here?
Yeah, I guess the one big thing is that New Mexicans, I mean, I have worked, a little all over the states, and I will take my New Mexico crew up against any crew out there, LA, Georgia, New York. Like, I will take them up against anyone. It's just a different kind of grit out here. When I say grit, I mean, I did this show in LA, and it was barely a sprinkle, a drizzle. And I remember one of the camera guys, maybe it was an AC or something, and he was like, "Oh, we're going to have a rain delay, right?" And I was like, a little bit of sprinkles. And I'm like, no, like, get your water bag and put it over your gear. Like, there's no delay here. There's no lightning. We're not outside, so, but New Mexico crews, we're up in Santa Fe or northern New Mexico. And in the winter, we have icicles on our eyebrows and just, dripping down our nose, and that freezes up, But yeah, I mean, it is pretty funny to see, people from out of the state that think they're coming into the desert and it's going to be warm all the time, but once that sun sets, it's a whole different world, I mean, the next day, then they come in with their like North Face and Patagonia on, and it's like, no, like, we told you it's a high desert, it's not, just, I wish, sometimes it was. I don't like being cold, but, that's the one thing. I think the one big, I guess, the alarm bell for me is they think they're coming into the warmth, and once that sun sets, it's a whole nother game. But that's probably the one thing that I think I noticed the difference of between New Mexico crew and non-New Mexico crew.
I don't remember where I heard this story. I think it was at the festival. Maybe you told this story, but a production where it was what you were saying. Like, they came here and they were filming in like November, December, and they were like, well, the movie's set in the summer.
Oh,
and it's New Mexico, like, it'll be warm, and all the shots had to be in like t-shirts and shorts, and it was like 30 degrees.
No.
Yeah, I definitely had to do one of those. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but it was maybe November. Yeah, it was cold, but of course, looks are deceiving. When the sun is outside just beating down, it looks warm. So I mean, it looks like it could be summer. But everyone had to be in, sleeves or shorts or dresses, whatever. But everyone, when we put their coats back on, blankets. And then when it's like about to, roll and action, they take those off, and then, they have to act like it's summer. And
I'm such a baby. I could pretend to be like, any sort of whatever. I could not pretend to be warm.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah.
It sounds so hard to be like,
shiver.
And to be like, okay, I am this character and this is my motivation. And also, it's not 30 degrees. It's warm. I could not.
Yeah. I don't like that. I don't like the cold either. I upgraded to getting like a heated vest and gloves, and I prefer not to work in the winter, but.
So what skills would you say somebody would need to have, or could they gain when they're going through this type of career path? What should they have coming in, and what do you think that they can gain while on the job?
I mean, just being personable. I mean, just having people skills, really. Everything, I mean, you can go to film school, right? But everything in this job, I didn't go to film school. I mean, you have to be willing to do things that are, I guess, would be considered lowly or whatever. Like, I mean, I started out with, coffee runs, cleaning porta potties, and, New Mexico summer heat and just like you have to be willing to work to do, you know, to get where you want to go, which I think, I mean, just being New Mexicans for sure. I mean, I've seen all of that from New Mexicans, just willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done. And you see people just advancing in those, you know, whatever department that they want to go in. But I think having a thick skin and being, you know, willing to work and put in the time. But yeah, those people skills, I mean, because you're interacting with so many personalities. I also, when I was in law school, I was bartending. So I feel like that transitioned pretty well into this because, I mean, you have to be able to know how to then respond and react to people when, you know, they're getting really, really high stressed and really aggro sometimes because in a bartending, you have those people as well. And then you have people that just want to talk. So it's like trying to handle all the personalities. But yeah, I mean, yeah, just being a people person, having thick skin and just, yeah, being willing, you know, to put in the work and time.
And other than being background roles, starting to get entry, what are some technical entry points that people should look at if they're interested in going, especially if they're going more on that? They know they want to do the behind the scenes, the grip, the lights, things like that. Like, what are some entry points for that people should think about if they want to make that their career?
Yeah, so it is just finding those people that do it and then reaching out to them. So I have a good friend, Ryan Halsey, who co-owns a Sirius Grip and Electric here in Albuquerque. They're one of the major, I mean, grip and electric companies here that rent out to all of the companies. And he's one that if I was wanted to do, you know, grip or electric, they're the ones that handle all the lights, all the setting up of, you know, all the rigs, things like that. And I would, sorry, Ryan, but I would, yeah, give him a call or an email, go to the shop and see what he has, you know, apprenticeships. I think he's also working on something like that, you know, just trying to do internships, apprenticeships, because we have the people here. They just need, yeah, like the training for it, you know. And I think that's one of the things in the state that we're lacking is proper training programs. Mm-hmm. But I know that Ryan is, yeah, trying to get something started off the ground with that because he sees the potential in all of our people here. Because I'd rather work with our people here than, you know, having to pay more to bring in people from LA. It just hurts the budget, but also, you know, we have, if it's a, you know, New Mexico thing, like we do have the people and we need to support that.
Well, I don't know who Ryan is, but I really hope he's called us already so that we can help him with a registered apprenticeship program. Or now we have pre-apprenticeship programs, which will help pay for that. So tell Ryan to call us.
Yeah, no, because it's like some of those positions too. I mean, there's a lot of, you know, just even people in those jobs right now in the traditional world sense, you know, there's plumbers, electricians, and maybe they want to switch over to this side of it, you know. I don't know what the pay difference is, but I know that every project is different. And like I said, I mean, I love this career so much because you get to go to different places. Yeah. I mean, especially here in New Mexico. I mean, especially when you work with, you know, the Pueblos here, you get to go to lands that non-Pueblo people would not be able to go to. I mean, they start unlocking gates and you see things that, I mean, I've seen things in like Jemez Pueblo, Sandia that I have never seen before. But yeah, so I mean, it's something that's, you know, maybe a slight career change and some things that they would just need, you know, just to get the lingo down and just other little things. But I mean, transitional careers, things like that, like we welcome it. Yeah, it's just how to do that, right? How do I do it? So, I mean, I've done what I could, you know, when people reach out to me like, hey, like my kid wants to do this or like I'm thinking of changing my career. I'm like, okay, well, I can help guide in that way. But I think if we had something a little bit more streamlined, that could help. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's so many people in New Mexico that have those types of technical skills or want to have those technical skills. And I imagine that like if you're doing electrical or you're doing lights, like doing lights for like a kitchen remodel or for like Stranger Things, like that has got to be more fun.
Yeah.
Like to do it for, or like
For
building,
sure.
like a whole set and then you blow it up.
Yeah. So
all movies should end with something exploding.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just construction, you know, I mean, all of that. I mean, that's, yeah, you build sets and yeah, sometimes you have to build replicas of those sets because yes, one does get caught on fire and then one does need to be, you know, messier than the other one. It's yeah. So, I mean, there's jobs for everyone, I think. And
great. Okay. Well, we're going to kick off rapid, not so rapid questions. So what's your number one work habit?
I don't know my number one work habit. That can mean so many things. Waking up every day, I guess. My work habit. No, I need to create something at least once a day, whether it's writing, editing a script, or coming up with, kind of a storyboard of things. But I always have to create something or make a prop or block out a scene or just, come up with a new film idea. But it's my, routine every day is just to come up with one creative thing a day.
If you could step into a movie and be a part of that world, what movie would it be?
Be a movie and then a TV show. It would be Roman and Michelle's high school reunion.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I love that movie so much. And The Office. I would love to step into The Office.
I feel like that feels attainable. Probably people. I'm sure we buy a lot of paper. I'm sure some company we buy paper from.
Yeah, and those movies are definitely different from the things that I create because I'm more in the psychological horror world, and those are totally not those things.
Ideal, like dream actor to work with that you haven't worked with yet, or maybe you have.
I just went through this, but I can't remember now.
Okay. What's your biggest fear or phobia?
I get really claustrophobic. So when there's usually like a lot of people around, I get, just a little sweaty and a little anxiety. But usually when I'm with my friends who, also work with me, I feel okay. But usually it's a little claustrophobia.
If you weren't doing what you are doing now, what job would you choose?
I think I would... I'd probably be a lawyer right now. And that was something that also I didn't want to do. So I would be in that career that I would probably be really unhappy doing.
Favorite on-set lunch?
Oh gosh, usually when it's like a bigger production, then you can have like the really nice catering. So Mario's is really great. They will, make, you have surf and turf. You have, the steaks, lobster, shrimp, and then you have they're making it right there. So it's just and they make everything, how you want it. So in the morning for breakfast, you can go to the omelet station and do those, like make all the things or fresh pressed juices. So like when the budget's it's big, usually like the Netflix, all the big ones have that, but the smaller ones, we're, usually lucky enough to even just get lunch. No, I'm just kidding. No, we provide lunch. It's
sandwiches.
It's just, So usually it's not as fancy, but it's probably my favorite when it's a big budget and you get to just, make your own fresh pressed juice and have a steak for lunch. And yeah.
So what do you like most about your job?
That I get to meet new people every day. I get to go to places that I would never have an opportunity to get to go to. But every day is different. I did have an office job, but I like this, I guess what you would call a quote, an office job, where every location is different. Every office is different. But it's definitely the interacting with different people. And that's the really fun part is you get to travel to go work in these places. I haven't gone overseas yet, but some friends of mine go to Iceland, we'll go to, the Philippines, just everywhere. And you get paid to do these things. And it's like, why not? For a while I was working out of New Mexico for years. And I was mostly working in LA and now I'm working more at home, but it's like I get paid to go to these places. And it's really nice to get paid to travel.
And I think this is the question that we ask everybody, right? Every guest, red or green?
So this is probably not a very New Mexican answer.
Mine's none.
Yeah.
Is yours
none too?
Oh my gosh.
When it comes to chili, I just can't. I am such a little weakling about it. My mom, she would make me green chili stew without green chili on the side. So it's just literally meat and potato stew. Yeah. The spiciness, I just can't do spice. When my ears start burning, my tongue starts burning. It's just not fun for me. Like I'm not enjoying eating anything.
Yeah. I'm relating a lot right now.
Yeah.
Stacy had tahini for the first time and is still traumatized.
I am. I didn't know. I thought it was sugar.
You can't give her too much pepper. She'll be
can't do
done.
pepper.
I can do like, pozole and stuff with the chili is super mild, but I like the flavor
no
of
seeds,
it. But
no
when
nothing.
it's spicy, no,
Yeah.
I like the flavor, but when it's spice, I just can't
Sounds
do
like
it.
a red. Sounds like
Yeah,
red, maybe.
I go a little bit of, 50-50, but not Christmas. I can't do the mixing. I think it's also the little autism too, where I can't really mix things together. So it's either red or the green. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for spending time with us and
Yeah.
sharing your career with us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for having me,
How
guys.
fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye. This has been a New Mexico Department of Workforce Solutions production. Our producer is Milo Koleski. This episode was engineered and mixed by John Sloan. Theme music is One Fine Day, courtesy of podcast.co. Follow the show on social media at GoodJobNM. For program funding, visit our website, dws.state.nm.us/funding. Bye.